On July 13, SAG-AFTRA went on strike, walking off film and television sets and joining the WGA in demanding a square deal from producers. Nearly 2 months later, that deal seems as distant as ever. You know Michelle Hurd from her work as Raffi on Star Trek Picard, but you may also know that she is the Vice President of SAG-AFTRA. She joined me to talk about the ongoing strike and the upcoming United We Trek event. I'm T. Rick Jones, and this is your Daily Star Trek News. July 13th, SAG-AFTRA walked off all the film and television sets, and you all started striking and joined the WGA, who had been doing it for a month or more by then. So talk to me, and everybody, I'm not going to rehash that whole history because I think everybody's read about it enough, but talk about what some of the issues are with why did you all walk off? What are you fighting for? Talk a little bit about the AI and streaming, and just explain to me what some of the issues that you care about are.
Yeah, what's one of the things that I found so kind of moving during this whole strike, and actually going to cons, and because I speak about the strike at the cons, because the promoters asked me to, and I'm more than happy. And then our Trekkie family has been so engaged in it, and they're really curious, which I so love. I love this family so much. They really follow in Roddenberry's footsteps, of the hope for a better tomorrow. But one of the things I found so interesting is that they understand that what we are fighting for is a living wage. And that's what everybody can relate to. I've had healthcare workers come over to me, teachers, librarians, custodians, UPS workers, cops. Everybody in every different profession is literally like, you got to do this. This is happening in my industry. This is happening here. And, we got to make this stop. So specifically what has happened in our industry, in my industry, the arts, because of streaming, the business model that we have all profited for with all these many years, that was always so lucrative, the linear programming, ad supported programming, was changed by streaming platforms. This concept of taking your actors generally away from where they live to a different state for 5 months, shooting about 10 episodes. Then these streaming platforms will hold these shows for as long as they want. They'll drop it whenever they feel. It could be in a month, 6 months, a year from after you shot it. And then they will hold you, the actor, for 1, 2, 3, even 4 or more years before letting you know whether that show is being picked up, let alone whether you're going to be picked up with that show. Yeah. And so this weird concept of working for 5 months and having those paychecks sustain us for years without the ability to get another series regular job, or to be able to have some say in curating your job, your career. Meaning, if I try to get another job in that hiatus, the employers, the other that I might be of a job that I might be trying to get, can't commit to me because they don't know when I'm going to be called back to work. Sure. So now I'm sort of left to just grab a job here, grab a job there, grab whatever I can, and often forced to take top of show. Top of show is a concept that was never created by SAG-AFTRA. It was created by the AMPTP, and it's called, it means the top of show. It's the base minimum that a producer is going to pay. So the base pay, the minimal base pay, I could literally do 3 or 4 episodes of a show, of different shows, and I still won't make $26,000, which is what we need to qualify to make our health insurance. So that's literally a struggling working class problem. So what we're striking on is the ability to, first of all, we'd like to have our residuals placed at a fair base, a fair wage for our work on streaming platforms, like we had on our linear television shows, which is the 22 episodes on the few networks that we still have. Those are ad supported. So we had residuals. It was, cash cow for everybody. We don't have that on streaming platforms. So we are fighting for the right to have our work compensated. Streaming platforms are $1 billion industry, billions. billions of dollars right now, and we don't see any of it. We don't see any of that. So, you know, we're only asking for like a tiny, tiny little portion. We're like 0.005, you know, like just give us a little something cut there so that we can be compensated. Our caps, which are the contributions to our episodes into our health and pension fund. This is what keeps us all in with healthcare. Those caps, which is what the producers contribute, those caps have not been moved for 40 years, since 1983. So how in the world are we actors supposed to keep up with inflation, particularly with healthcare, if they haven't even moved in 40 years? That's 4 decades, y'all. That's insane. No other industry has that. No other industry has that. Another really dangerous thing, which again, you know, as actors, we're sort of the shiny object that get to sort of amplify these issues. But just remember, AI, artificial intelligence, is affecting everyone. Everyone. We're just the shiny objects. You could think of it this way. Say you have a bad breakup and your ex really is pissed off at you. They can actually utilize AI technology to take my face, to take my person, my avatar, and put it into, I don't know, some really gross porn or something. And I say that because there's not always bad porn. There's some good porn, but you know, some really gross porn, or blackmail me, or utilize my to call somebody to ask for money. This can happen to everyone. It's not just us. So I really need the community to understand this, that we're fighting for everyone. What's kind of disgusting in our field is that background artists, and this is a proposal that AMPTP put across the table, they want to have the ability to, when a background artist comes to do a day of work, which is $150, $187, it's basically below $200. The producers of whatever gig you're doing has the right to scan your person, creating an avatar of you. Now they are able to utilize that avatar of you in their libraries in perpetuity, forever and ever, and you will never see another penny. So for $200, less than $200, I could be sitting back watching TV and I look at a crowd in a commercial and I go, that's me. That's me. I could be watching a movie and could be someone sitting in the front row of, at a restaurant, sitting at a table restaurant. That's me. And I will never see any of this money because I have given away my rights for my avatar to be in somebody's library to utilize forever. And this cannot stand. This is insane. That's just 3: healthcare, streaming, and AI that we are fighting for. And this is, you know, my union, SAG-AFTRA, is 160,000 strong, made up of singers, voiceover artists, dancers, stunt workers, background artists, principal artists. And this is just 3 of the issues that impact 160,000 members in all those vocations.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I had no idea they had the right. Is that written in their contracts that they have the right to scan a background actor?
Yeah, see, this is the thing that's so egregious. You know, in every contract that an actor basically signs, pretty much across the board, from like, commercials to TV series to movies and all that stuff, there's this little clause, right? There's a little clause that says we give over the right to have the production utilize our likeness in this production, you know, and for the actor, you're just thinking like, oh, that's because we're going to make a big poster of me, or they're going to make a little, family portrait that's going to be put on a mantle in the background. You know, you say yes, or you're going to be used in publicity. That's what you're saying, yes. So this little clause has now been abused. It's now been widened and abused to utilize, for these people to utilize in perpetuity. And one of the most important things that I really wish that all actors, but it doesn't matter, actor or not actor, human beings should do is read your contracts. Please, please, please read every single thing that you sign on for. And I include my youth that is hearing this. That includes any kind of app that, when you use an app and there's a little something that comes up in tiny writing with many, many pages, and you have to click that in order to accept that app.
Yeah.
Please read those, because in those apps, in those contracts, they are literally saying, we are going to use your biometrics. We are going to use your personal information. We are going to utilize whatever we want that you put into this phone for our own profit without you getting any compensation. So that's the exact same thing that we have in our contract. So please, people read, say no. Say no, because you're giving away your likelihood, your likeliness. You're giving away your power, your autonomy, your abilities.
I'm a stage manager. I'm in the Actors Equity Association, so I know kind of what you're talking about. But we don't have issues like you guys do.
Right.
It's been a long time. I've never been involved in a strike since I've been in the union.
Let's keep that up.
Yeah, knock on wood. But and it's been a long time since SAG-AFTRA has walked out. It's been 1980 was the last time.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
So it's crazy that you're suddenly doing it, and it's been so even longer since SAG-AFTRA and WGA walked out at the same time.
Yeah.
In fact, we're at the 50th anniversary of the last time that happened.
50 years, you guys. 50 years. It's time. It's time.
So it's crazy that you haven't had to do that before.
Well, I think it's it's a product of our times, because like I was saying, we're really just a microcosm of what's happening in the world. I mean, the expanse between the haves and have-nots has gotten so insane. You think about like conversations that we could have had, a decade or so ago, and it would be about like, people are making millions and millions of dollars. Well, cut to 2023, 2024 is coming up. And now we talk about people, individuals making billions and billions of dollars. If we don't change this now, in 10 years, are we going to talk about individuals making trillions of dollars? And if individuals start making trillions of dollars, well, then the divide between the haves and haves not is going to be completely unsurvivable. Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to imagine what that could look like.
It's been 2 months since any negotiations have happened with SAG-AFTRA. So how did they break down? Did the AMPTP just refuse to talk, which it seems like they're doing now, or what happened? What was the straw?
Yeah, right. How did it break down? Yeah, it broke down. She broke down. I mean, the thing that's kind of crazy is, the WGA had, I think, 5 weeks of negotiations, and that's like 11,800 people, or is it 17,000? I forget which is DGA and WGA, but anywhere between 11, 15, 17,000 people. Sure. We, who have 160,000 with all those different departments, like I told you, or careers, they gave us 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3.5 weeks to negotiate for 160,000 members. We graciously extended for 12 days. One of the things that the big issues that we had been asking to speak on from the very first day was AI, artificial intelligence, because we knew that this is a biggie for everybody. Yeah. AMPTP did not respond to us, didn't respond to us, just silent for those few weeks. We'd make this extension. We again put our proposal for AI specifically, and we're like, you need to respond to us. They don't respond to us for 4 days during that 12-day extension. 4 days, just silent. We're there. We kept showing up, waiting, doing our caucus and trying to figure out what's the next step. Silence. On that day, that day, the 12th, which was the last day that we were in the room with them. I think it was like 3 p.m. or something like that in the afternoon. They showed up with a partial response to the IA proposal, which gives us absolutely no time to go back into our room to caucus to try to come up with a response to their response. So they basically were like, well, I guess there's just not going to be enough time, so we probably should do another extension. So that right now they're just dragging their feet. And from our point of view, it looked pretty much like the reason they wanted to have us do another extension was to give them the ability to have their red carpets for the big summer releases. Right? Yeah. It was so disrespectful. It was so dismissive and ugly that we had a little back and forth in that room. I mean, literally till like 11 something that night. You know, we did not stop. We were there, and it became very clear that they were not going to move, that they weren't going to, they weren't taking us seriously. And at that moment, because we had the full 98% support of our union giving us that ability to have the strike authorization, we had to pull the trigger and strike. We walked out en masse, very dramatic. As true actors.
Well, yeah, if you're going to do something, do it dramatically, Michelle. That's I have a couple of quotes that I'd love to hear your response to.
Oh dear.
One is, and I'm sure you've heard these before. One is Bob Iger said your demands are not realistic. And another is somebody anonymous from the AMPTP said, which is a mouthful, SAG-AFTRA is much easier to say, said that they were just going to hold out and wait until you couldn't afford your apartments and food anymore, which is less a strategy and more of, I don't know what. It's not a negotiating strategy. You can't negotiate without talking. So I'd love to hear your response to those two specific quotes.
I think one of the things that's so interesting about being told that we're unrealistic is that for an individual who makes $80,000 a day, for them to tell us that we're unrealistic because the difficulty of making $26,000 a year is unattainable, who's unrealistic here? Who's unrealistic here?
Right.
There's no way that somebody who makes $80,000 a day can even conceive, wrap their head around what it means to struggle, hustle, scrape, phone call, everything you can to try to make $26,000 in 1 year just so that you can qualify for your health insurance.
Yeah.
And this is not even trying to curate my career. This is just trying to make sure that I have health insurance.
Sure.
So yeah. I think that answers what's unrealistic here.
Yeah.
And the other statement, which was actually said about the WGA, about waiting till they become homeless.
Right.
Waiting it out till they become homeless, till they lose their homes, then they will come back and accept whatever contract we put in front of them. Well, that's just inhumane.
Yeah.
And cruel.
Yeah.
And unconscionable. And absolutely, as you said, that is not a negotiation. The truth of a successful negotiation is when both parties walk away not completely satisfied. I'd be perfectly happy with that. I'm so ready for that. But you need to come to the table. You got to come to the table. You got to fairly bargain with us. We'll do a give and take. Let's do a give and take. But to not even to come to the table and to actually say, I mean, again, even, bringing into the unrealistic kind of concept into that statement, how is it possible that people could say, we want to wait till a body of people become homeless? And a body of people who, by the way, are part of what creates the network of human connection.
Yeah.
Storytelling has been around for centuries. It's literally a sacred art form of how we communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Cavemen, drew things of big elephants and 5 people running. This is how we share, how we connect. During the pandemic, what did people do? They leaned into storytelling. They leaned into even news outlets, any way to find information, to connect, to find what's the word? What is the word? That's what writers do. That's what actors do. We're storytellers. And to say we would happily wait till they become homeless? They're unrealistic because they're trying to make more than $26,000 a year? This is malicious and cruel and needs to stop and needs to change. And part of this whole place that we have found ourselves in now is because we're no longer dealing and interacting and negotiating with creatives. Back in the day, in the studio days, and mind you, back in the studio days, there was their own kind of issues. I mean, they're the casting couch, and there was a whole lot of issues back in the day.
Yeah.
But the truth is, those people who were the heads of the studios, they loved art. They loved making movies. They loved telling stories. And we're not negotiating with those people anymore. We're negotiating with conglomerates, with corporations, with people whose portfolio has a little section of the industry, and that they look at their portfolios and they go, where can we trim the fat? Let's trim the fat, meaning the actors and the writers. This cannot happen anymore. It has to change, and that's why it has to happen now.
Yeah. And in fairness, because we are a news outlet, I reached out to the AMPTP a couple of times to try to get somebody on to talk about it, to ask questions. And I have been met with silence, just as you folks have been met with silence. So
what is that? What is that? If you are so proud of where you stand and the point of view, and you feel that you're righteous and that you are on the right side of history, why would you not speak up and tell us what your issues are? Right. Why would you not come and share this? Yeah. I mean, that's incredibly telling, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. For Star Trek people, how is this going to affect Star Trek fans going forward? Mm-hmm. And you know, what can they expect from, I mean, how long is it going to be? You probably, you can't answer this question, but how long is it going to be till they get new Star Trek? I mean, just how's it affecting your fans of Star Trek properties?
Well, first of all, the $1 million question is when it's going to end. I mean, you know, that would have been lovely if the AMPTP had decided to send someone here to show up, because we could have asked them, because the ball is in their court. They literally can make this end today, if they wanted to. I have to say, and I don't know if this helps, but from the cons that I've been doing and the interactions with my Trekkie family, I have been so moved by how supportive our Trekkies are. They understand, they get it, they understand what we're fighting for, they know why we're doing this, and they are so strong and so powerful with their love and their support and their words of encouragement. What's been amazing, is I'll give a speech, or I'll answer questions and do all that, and then I'll go back to my table to sign some pictures, and I get this amazing informed group of people. Like, they come and go, I didn't know what was going on, now I understand, what can we do? And they're so galvanized, and I'm just like, I don't even know what to tell you, because they're so ready to like take down the man, kind of situation. And of course, all I can say is, please amplify, social media, let the world know, because it's really about information, and information's power, and to, in a way, shame the AMPTP to get back to the table, to really inform people that this is a labor issue. It's a labor movement. It's about working class individuals. And also, of course, to donate to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation.org, because that's going to help with emergency assistance with all the actors who are out of work and and are suffering. But one of the things about actors is that, and I think the AMPTP has forgotten this, and they also need to know that about WGA, is artists, we're used to struggling. This is what we do.
Tell me about it.
Right? Right, honey? This is what we do. We're very resourceful, and we will figure out how to keep ourselves afloat, to fight for the ability to have this as a vocation. Because if we don't change this now, in 10 years, I honestly, I don't know for sure whether a writer is going to be an actually financially stable vocation. And I don't know if an actor is going to be a viable vocation, because things are being, taken over by AI. Writers' rooms are being taken over by AI technology. To job us out by lowering our salaries continuously means that I can't I can't do the work that I want to do in the best way that I can, because now I have to fit in 2 other jobs in order for me to do that one TV job. I mean, you guys remember the whole thing about Orange is the New Black, right, on Netflix? How huge Orange is the New Black came out. It was huge. Everybody knew Orange is the New Black. People walking around in Halloween costumes, dressed up, quoting the whole thing. Those were series regulars. Those actors didn't give up their day jobs because they were at top of show. So they were on one of the biggest Netflix series of that time, streamed around the world, millions and millions of eyes were on them, and still they were getting base minimum pay, no residuals, and had to keep their day jobs.
Man.
So this is the problem. I don't know when this is going to end, but I know we have to do this because we have to stand for unions. We have to stand for all union workers. We have to stand for fair pay to make a living wage. And for my Trekkie family, as soon as we can, we will get new content out for you. But at this moment, I know Gene Roddenberry would be, and the whole Roddenberry family would be so proud to know that we all stand together, strong, fighting injustice, fighting the, this big brother concept of silencing and making the divide between the working class and the haves even more. I know that they are on the right side. So I wish I had better, words of encouragement as to when this can end, but just know that the Trekkie family, we are so proud to stand with you guys. We're humbled the fact that you are proud to stand with us. And, we're just, we're getting ready to do a little, Trekkie picketing on Friday, September 8th in front of Paramount. And we want all of the Trekkie families to come out and trek with us,
So let's talk about that. It's been dubbed United We Trek, which is great.
Yeah.
What was the genesis of that idea? Who came up with the idea? How was it put into motion?
Honestly, Jonathan Del reached out to me. I know you all know he played Hugh. And he is just the quintessential, like, stellar Trekkie. He's an amazing and activist. I know during the elections, he organized a fundraiser, I think for Stacey Abrams. It's very interesting because he sends out an email and we all respond. And it was really, he said to me something about September 8th is Star Trek Day. And I would like to reclaim that for the actors. And I was like, you know what? I think you got something right there. And he just began his magic that he did, and his, how he sort of tell two friends and so on kind of concept. And we got it all organized, and SAG-AFTRA is 100% behind it. And, the truth of the matter is that we want to celebrate with our Trekkies. We want to celebrate because we love this family that we're in. We love it. It's sacred. But we want to take the eyes away from the studio that has the honor of putting our stories on their platform. But our stories, our Star Trek stories and our Star Trek families are ours. It's not theirs. It's ours. Yeah. The Trekkie family. And we don't want to, diminish that. We don't want to silence that. We want to amplify that. We want to celebrate it. And I love that Jonathan said that. He said he wants to take that back, and it's not their day. It's our day. It's our day. So that's what September 8th is going to be. United We Trek. We want to, embrace all of our family, our Trekkie families, support it, and, celebrate this amazing family that has been happening for decades and decades. And, I don't even know how Gene Roddenberry had a crystal ball to know all the different inequities that happened and are happening. But to tell them in the powerful umbrella of sci-fi, that we can tell stories about diversity and inclusivity and immigration and, bigotry and, and hate and love and, all that stuff under this amazing concept of sci-fi. He was a pretty ingenious person. So that's what September 8th is going to be. United We Trek together.
I'm going to put all the details in the show notes, but just give them to me now. We want to hear them from your voice.
Yes. So on September 8th, so I think in New York, it's going to be 1515 Broadway, which is Paramount. Here it's over on Melrose. I don't know the exact address. I'm so sorry, but it's the Paramount Gates. It's right there on Melrose off of Gower, I believe. And it's between 9:30 and 12. So show up, put your SPF on, get your hats, do what you need to do, get your water bottle, and, United We Trek together together and strong, and you know, who knows, you might run into your favorite Trekkie.
If you do go,
Yeah.
there are a few ground rules. No Star Trek apparel, right?
Right.
And no selfies.
I think we just want to do that because it'll be a little bit more distracting. You know, we're trying to pick it and we're trying to show a sense of unity. And if anything, what we hope our Trekkie family realizes is that it's not you coming to watch us, it's us working together.
Right.
Like we're all on the same side of the screen at this point. We're really together and mobilized together, and we're kind of arm in arm as opposed to looking at each other. So we really want to kind of convey that. And I think that's kind of, I think that's a beautiful and powerful thing. And it's kind of a unique a moment in time. It doesn't always happen that way. Because if you think about Star Trek Day, we're generally still sort of like that, someone's over there and someone's over here and we're taking pictures. This is going to be a place where we're united, we're together, we're all on the same team and strong. And, if there's not if you're not in New York or LA for United We Trek Day, then, do your own little moment of protest and, just stand supported, maybe, because everything's social media now, but maybe put something on social media on that day and just say that you stand united with us, and maybe a whole bunch of AMPTP go back to the table, kind of tweets, and posts on Instagram. That would be a way to stand in solidarity.
People can bring signs, but they'll be vetted. What kinds of things will you be looking for? What kinds of signs are appropriate for fans to bring?
Yeah, that's one of those that I sort of step back on because it's all legal. So sure. It's whatever SAG-AFTRA and the WGA approve of. The WGA signs have been fabulous because they're written by writers. So they've always got these really these great signs. I love it. Ours are okay, but theirs are a little more kitschy. So it's just that kind of stuff. And I think what we have to be careful of is that we don't want anybody in trouble. We don't want any kind of liability sort of things. We don't want people putting stuff on signs that, could get them in trouble in any way, because this is a nonviolent, a peaceful rally. And so we just want to be careful of that. And, also you could just show up and we'll give you a SAG-AFTRA poster, strap poster. And that's kind of cool as well.
That's terrific. Well, Michelle Hurd, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a real pleasure. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I know more about the strikes than I did, and I hopefully people watching will as well, or listening.
It's a pleasure and an honor to meet you and to chat about this. And thank you so much for doing this extra work and helping us in this really important fight. So thank you.